Right, first and foremost, we say Kahalo, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Kodash. That's the ancient Hebrew tongue. Yeah? That's the Lasha one Kodash, the ancient Hebrew tongue. Kahalo, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and salutation to the Akim on the highways and hedges, pushing this truth in sincerity. Once again, we're on the highways, we're giving our bodies as a living sacrifice and doing our labor of love, yeah? Because Yahweh Shai said to come out on the highways and bid Jacob, the Israelites, to the marriage. Because we're in the last days of the Europeans, the Edomites, the kingdom, whether they believe it or not. We're at the end of their Greco-Roman Empire, because all empires had a chance to rule. And we're coming to the end of the so-called white man's rule, yeah? So the Lord said to come out here and let him know, and let Jacob know that the Lord is on his way, yeah? To bid them back to the marriage, okay? So we're gonna go into about World War III, because World War III is in the Bible, yeah? The Lord said He's going to bring the ultimate plague on this earth, and that's the nuclear missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles. He said He's going to rain them down on Babylon, yeah? He's going to rain them down on the beast, yeah? So this is Jeremiah 51, and it says, "Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai, behold, I will raise up against Babylon." Babylon is a Hebrew word that means babal, it means confusion. A man marrying another man is confusion, and a woman marrying another woman is confusion. And as Esau shakes his head and says, no, he's a reprobate, because this is why his society is falling apart. Because he's that queer, he's that strange person. He's not supposed to be ruling, because he's just a wicked bastard, yeah? And he's sending his philosophies throughout the whole earth, you know, transgenderism, LGBTQZ, yeah? And he's telling everybody this is the way life should be. When that is wicked according to the Creator in his eyes. That's why his kingdom won't last. That's why he's going to bring World War III and the lake of fire, yeah? And it says, "Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up against Babylon," against America, Europe, Britain, anywhere the Edomites are, "and that dwell in the midst of them," like our people. So he's going to raise up against Babylon, because our people have taken on the Babylonian customs. Like, we've got another few more days. What is it? About 12 more days to Christmas. That's a Babylonian custom. So the Lord is saying He's going to raise against Babylon, right? Because putting a Christmas tree in your house is twisted. It's a bit sick, because it could catch a light, you know? It might catch a light and burn down your house. Enjoy your kingdom while it lasts. Look. Two of them there, look. Two party men, yeah? And this is why their kingdom's going to fall apart. Because they didn't learn from Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah, there was reprobates, yeah? Two men and men, women and women. That's a reprobate. A void, this means void of judgment. So love another man, you've got to be twisted in your mind. When you know that the Lord made a woman for a man to caress and to nurture and to love and to hold on to, yeah? But this man, that's why society's falling apart, because everything he said, and everything he gave us this queer, yeah, this strange person, because this is not Jesus Christ, yeah. That's the devil the Bible speaks of, Cesare Borgia. That's why the Lord said He's going to raise unto Babylon. Let's see what He's going to say. Against them that dwell in the midst of them, that raise up against me, and they do, the Caucasians raise up against the Lord. How do they do that? By telling everybody to break laws of God, yeah? Even though the laws was given to the Israelites, the Caucasian man says it's all right to be a reprobate, to do what thou will. Witchcraft. He's into warlockism and witchcraft.
Yeah, I think
Harry Potter and all that madness. Yeah? They're a bunch of wizards and warlocks, Edomites, the wicked. Yeah? As soon as they come out the womb, they're wicked. Yeah? And it says, a destroying wind. I will raise up against me a destroying wind. And what was that wind he's talking about? It's nuclear fire. They had one down in America recently, the tornado what tore up parts of America. Yeah, they're still finding bodies now. But the destroying wind he's talking about is nuclear missiles. Because when that nuclear bomb explodes, it sends like a wind first, then the heat. Yeah, and then it just consumes everything, because the intercontinental ballistic missile burns at 1,000,000 degrees. Nothing is going to stand that kind of force. You understand? All that's going to be perceived is dust. And it says, and I will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her land. So America is going to be completely empty. Because how was America established? Off of rape, robbery and murder. That land they took from the North American Indians, so-called, who had a tribe, the Northern Kingdom. Yeah. You understand? God's chosen people. So there's going to be a punishment for that. Yeah? That's why the Lord now is bringing all the plagues from Egypt and more. Because the Lord needs his payback now. He needs his people back. Not only that, it needs that blood sacrifice. Because if he could sacrifice his own people and put them in slavery, yeah, and put them under the cave beast, now he wants to put the cave beast under us. You understand? He's going to destroy this man with financially, physically. That is going to be the nuclear weapons. And that's when the Lord comes. It tells you that he's going to come. First, he's going to have us out in the streets, destroying their doctrines with his Bible. Then he's going to physically come in the chariots, what they call UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon. They used to call it UFOs. Yeah, this is why the Lord's going to come back and destroy him. Yeah, because of 400 to 500 years of free labor. Yeah, against God's chosen, and it says here. And shall empty her land, for in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Against him that bendeth, let her archers bend his bow, and against him that lifted up in his brigandine. Yeah? Let's look up that word brigandine. Let's see what that says. We're coming to the end of Whitey's world. And if our people don't get right, they're going to get put to death with him. Yeah? Where was I? Brigandine. Let's see what Brigandine says. Lifted up in his brigandine. Let's see. Brigandine, let's see. It says usage. Armor. Basically it just says his armor. Lifted up in his armor. Brigandine. Armor. Yeah, in his armor. So be lifted up in his armor. That's what he's saying, yeah? Then it says, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her hosts. And that goes back to Ezekiel. Let's get that, Ezekiel 9. Ezekiel 9, because it says go ye through the midst. Ezekiel 9, and let's see, let's see, 9 and 4. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst of them. So where the men were sighing and crying, a lot of our people are settled on their leaves. They said, oh, let's do in Rome what the Romans do. Yeah, they've trimmed their ways to seek a love, but we're not. We're the ones sighing and crying for all the abominations. LGBTQ, Z, you know, zoophilia, yeah. Being under this man who's a very a non-righteous, yeah, twisted, a moralist man. We're under him, and it says here, and to the others he said in my hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have pity. Slay utterly old, young, little children and women, but come not near any man upon who is the mark. Okay, so it says here, let's go back. Thus spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her hosts. Thus then slain and fell in the land the Chaldeans. It says Judah had not been forsaken, nor Judah of his God, of the Lord of hosts. And the land is filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. So, let's go to Ezekiel 35. Ezekiel 35th chapter, yeah, and it says, this is Ezekiel, prophet Ezekiel. It says, moreover the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir. So who is Mount Seir? The Lord's telling us to set our face against the Caucasians, the Edomites, the so-called white boy or red man, yeah? The Edomites. The Lord said, set your face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. Because we're doing what our fathers used to do. They used to come out on the highways and hedges amongst the people and prophesy against the wicked kingdom. And that's what we do. We come out and we prophesy against Mount Seir, against Edom, the so-called white man's rulership, the Greeks, the Greco-Roman Empire, the rebirth. So then he said, and say unto it, thus saith the Lord God, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee. So the Lord's telling you that he's against the Edomites. He's against the so-called white man. He's against them. Yeah? And it says, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. So he's going to make him desolate how? With nuclear missiles, okay? That's what he's going to do, yeah? And I will lay your cities waste. He's going to lay the white man's cities waste. Why? Because of 400 to 500 years of slave labor. And our people want to sweep it under the carpet and hold hands with them and say, bygones shall be bygones. But not the Lord. The Lord wants his payback, yeah? And I'm about my Father's business. You understand? I want that payback as well. That's why I come out here and do my duty to make my call and election sure, Lord willing. Because I don't want to burn with this cracker or with the 2/3 of my people. Yeah? And he says, I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and have shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. So they never stopped killing us. That's what God said. When he gave us into their hands, he said that they forwarded the affliction. They've gone too far. We read that in Edom yesterday when I was talking about. And by the way, the crackers took down my channel again. They took down one without giving no notification, and now they've given me another strike. They said it's medical disinformation. Yeah, what it is, they're trying everything to stop this word, but it ain't gonna stop. The Lord said you can do nothing against this word, but for it. You're just solidifying what we're saying by trying to take us down. Yeah, but the word, when the Lord brings that famine of the word, that's when we're going to come off the streets. That's when he's going to take us. You can't do nothing against the Most High. He controls all spirits. So you're only playing your part. You're playing your part until, you know, in the film, when someone gets put to death, yeah, and they're written out of the script, you're going to be written out of this script, yeah? Because that's what the Most High is. He's a director. Theos goes back to theatre, yeah? And this is the Lord's theatre. When Esau's having his wars, he calls it the theatre of war. Okay, the Lord is a man of war. Exodus 15:3 says the Lord is a man of war. That's why there's war brewing up. World War III is going to erupt into nuclear missiles exploding. Yeah, and our people are just in a daze. They don't even know. Romans 13:11 says, knowing the time we're in, it's high time to awake out of sleep. Because our people are in a deep sleep. Ever since we got off the cargo slave ships, they put us in a deep sleep, and they've got like a spell. They put us in a trance, yeah, with their media, with their Hollywood, yeah, with their television. They've put us in a trance. But at the end of the day, the Lord is waking up his elect. The rest are going to die in their darkness. But he's breaking up, like the Lord said, he's got 7,000 men that haven't bowed their heads to Baal. 7,000 men are waking up, the elect of Israel, yeah? And it says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and have shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. Now, what was Esau's blessing? Esau's blessing was to live by the sword. Let me see if I can find that in Genesis. It says, by thy sword thou shalt live. By your sword you will live. Right, this is Genesis. Let's start at, I'll just get to the point. This is Genesis 20 and 40. And it says, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass, thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And that happened, yeah? The Edomites come back into power during the Renaissance, yeah? But we're going to put that yoke on his neck. The same yoke that they put on our neck. You see, they got a man here with a yoke on his neck. That's how we know we're the Israelites. So we're going to break that. He's going to break that yoke. That happened in the Dark Ages, when the bubonic and the Black Plague came. But we're going to put that yoke back on his neck. It's going to be the last slavery. I could say not the last slavery, because we're going to enslave the other nations. But I said that the biggest slavery, the worst slavery, is going to be of the Edomites, the Caucasians. You know why? Because they put us in slavery where God's chosen. So if he allowed them to put us in slavery, so what's going to happen to them when we got them in our hands? We're going to be terrible to them. It says that, yeah? And it says, and the time of their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, I will prepare them unto blood, and blood shall pursue them. Now blood is going to pursue them, like it pursued us in slavery. How many people died in that transatlantic slave trade? Millions. How many died in North America when the white man went over there and conquered him with his Gatling gun and his smallpox? Millions. How about the Trail of Tears? Millions of people died. Yeah? When they walked them from one end of America all the way to Oklahoma. Yeah? And it says, therefore, as I live, saith the Lord, I will prepare them unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Because they've never hated blood. Even when they eat their food, steak tartar, I've got it here, it's got the blood in it. Yeah? And there's a law in the Bible, you're not supposed to eat anything with the life force of blood. So he's a bloody man. His society was built off of blood. I'm sure Nahum says that. Let's get Nahum. Let's get Nahum. Nahum says about blood. He's not supposed to build a city by blood. So let's get that. Build a town by blood. KJV. Let's get it. This is Nahum 2 and 12. Woe to him that build a town with blood and establish a city by iniquity. This place was built off of the blood, sweat and tears of the blacks, Hispanics and Native Indians. That's why the Lord said woe. Woe means destruction and death. So the death and destruction is going to come to the Caucasian people, the white people, because he built his city off of blood. And he established his city off iniquity, sin. Yeah? So it says, see thou hast not hated blood, blood also shall pursue thee. Thus I will make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men. And we're coming towards that now. World War III is on the horizon. There's going to be a lot of death. The Chinese, the Japanese, the so-called Edomites, they're all going to gang up for this great war what's coming. Armageddon is called. Yeah? The mountain of the troops. And a lot of people are going to get put to death in this last war, the Third World War. That's what it's called. Armageddon, yeah? And it says, and I will make thee a perpetual desolation, and thy cities shall not return. Because how many cracks had this Caucasian had at this trying to get it right? He's had 3 cracks trying to get it right. 3 strikes and you're out, yeah? So at the end of the day, he couldn't get it right. So he has to be moved out the way. So the Lord is coming, the one they call Jesus Christ. A black man, by the way, a black man, not a white man. Jesus was never a white guy. Yeah, they lied. He's come to move the white people out the way. Because they're teaching their children, and they're teaching other nations' children about LGBT. What are they teaching in school about LGBTQ? Are they teaching about it? These numb, genetically modified children. They're dumbed down. All they do is walk around with their devices in their hands. They don't know anything, really, except what they've been programmed to do. To be dumbed down, yeah? To be useless eaters, yeah? And it says, and I will make thee a perpetual desolation, and thy cities shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. Because the people don't know God. When white is ruling, nobody knows about God. They know about Christmas, they know about Easter, but they don't know about God. Because they say there is no God. Why? Because white, he said he is God. Yeah? He sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. But he ain't God. He's going to find out there is a God, and he's coming to destroy his red ass. Because he's the devil, he's the physical counterpart of Satan on the earth. And he needs to be moved out the way. Because our people are bugged out in this society. They haven't got a clue who they are. They're just walking around. You might as well walk around in circles, our people. Because they're like lost sheep. It tells you that. My people are lost sheep. And they don't know who they are. Isaiah says an ox knows his owner and an ass his master's crib. But Israel don't know, and they don't even consider. Our people wouldn't even consider that they are the real Jews. Because what do they say? The best thing, if you want to hide knowledge from a so-called Negro, Hispanic or native Indian, put it in a book, because they don't read, you understand? They'd rather be outside a shop with alcohol and don't drink alcohol, yeah, and smoke cigarette, yeah? This is what they would do. And it says, because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine. The two nations are the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom of Israel. And Esau said, we got those two nations now, because originally we are one nation, but now we're split and become two nations. But the Lord is going to put us back together. In Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, he says, make two sticks, one for the house of Judah and one for Israel. And he's going to bring us back together, blacks, Hispanics and native Indians. Because when the white man conquered us, that's his tactic, divide and conquer, yeah? So he split us up and then conquered us, yeah? But now we're waking up, we're the children of Israel, and we're not supposed to celebrate Christmas and put a tree in the house. Why? Because God said so, yeah? But our people are not godly people no more. They are evil and wicked like the rest of these devils. That's what the Lord said. My people surpass the deeds of the wicked, of the white man, because he's the wicked on the earth. Yeah? And it says, therefore, as I live, saith the Lord, I will even do according to thine anger, and according to thy envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them. And they've always hated us. Yeah? They pretend to be our friends. Yeah? The white man will pretend to be a black man's friend. Yeah? But he tells you, don't put this man near you, because he will cut you down and he will stand in your place. Just like they've done. Our people are calling themselves black people when they're brown. They are the real Jews of the Bible, the Israelites. But what has he done? The white man, the Edomite, the Amalekite, is taking our origin and calling himself Jewish. Yeah? Not quite like the Jews, not the Jews, but they pertain a little bit like the Jews. Why? Because they stole our customs. Yeah? They've stolen our land. They're claiming to be us. Yeah? But the Lord, at the end of the day, he says, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy, the wicked lie of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan, the chief house of Satan. Okay? So the Most High knows his eyes is 10,000 times brighter than the sun. And it says, therefore, as I live, thus saith Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, I will even do according to thine anger, and according to thy envy, and thy hatred against them. And I will make myself known among them. And he's doing that now. Why? Because of the signs. Coronavirus, yeah, Omicron. These are signs the Lord said he'll make in the last days before he sends his son to deliver us from the white man. But our people want to hold hands with him. You know what I mean? And even lay down with him. Our women are laying down with the beast man. You know what I mean? And some of Jake's having sex with the so-called white man, homos. They call them homosexuals. Yeah? We call them nasty, wicked devils. That's what they are. Or dirty bungles, we call them. Nasty bungle. Yeah? That's why we need to be delivered out of his hand. Yeah? Otherwise we'll end up kissing another man and all madness like that. You understand? Because this man, he endorses behavior like that, yeah? And it says, and I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee. Right, so the Lord said he's coming to judge you, Caucasians. This is the beginning of your judgment, yeah? Your judgment started when you put your hands on us and put us in cargo slave ships and built your society, yeah? Your judgment is at hand, yeah? And it says, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord, and that I have heard all thy blasphemies, yeah? which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, against the blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians, saying, they are laid desolate. And how we laid desolate? Because we don't know who we are. Yeah? To not know who you are is to be desolate. Yeah? To not know where you come from and to not know where you're going. That means you're laid desolate. And what it is now, we're trying to trim our ways to try and fit into this man's society. Yeah? We want to try and get love from the man what put us in slavery. How could you love somebody, or how could you expect them to love you when they made you labour for 400 to 500 years and built that society? How can you expect love from someone who's been killing you from day one? You've got to have a mental disorder, yeah? You've got to be mentally impaired in your brain to expect love from someone who's been killing you from day one. The number one enemy of the black man is the so-called white man, our big brother Esau. He shows it every day, you know? And it says, which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, they are laid desolate, they are given us to consume. And that's what's happened. When in slavery was, the Lord gave us over to them. That tells us in Baruch. You were given to your, let's try and see if we can get that. Let's get it, Baruch. All right, yeah. Good.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah, so how's it been going?
It's good. What's on your mind this week?
I'm going through what's going to happen in World War III.
Well, we're already in it.
Yeah, I know, financially, it starts financially, but you can see they're at the borders and they're all getting ready. So I was just going into the World War III, what's going to come about by the perpetual desolation was coming.
I think vaccine's more of a problem than anything else.
Huh?
The vaccine for World War III.
Well, that's part of the tribulation.
Take it.
I would never take that. I'd have to put you to death if I say. How about you?
No, it'll be me and you. We'll put us in the camp together. I'll see you in there.
Alright, man. Right, let's get it. It says here. And giving them to consume. So let's get Baruch. 3, I think it's 3 and 8. Let's see. 3 and 8. And it says, no, 4. Baruch 4 and right, this is Baruch 4 and I'll start at 5. Baruch 4 and 5. Be of good cheer, my people, the memorial of Israel. So the Israelites are God's chosen, blacks, Hispanics,